What up on a Tuesday edition of your favorite show, Views from the Stands. We truly appreciate you guys checking in and checking out the show. We truly appreciate it. We miss you guys. We had a bit of time off there for a weekend. We're back up and running here, man. I'm your host, Stevie B, Steve Brennan, and we got the GM, G Mike in the building. What up, my boy?
Yo, what up? How you feeling?
I'm feeling fantastic, man. It's going to be back on the show, man. How about you?
Good, man. You already know, man. Let's do this each and every day.
There we go, man. We have a fun-filled show for you guys today. It's playoff time, if you haven't already noticed. And so we're going to wrap to the games that's going on so far. We also have that pretty cool stuff going on right now, too. We got the NBA award. Finalists have been all announced, so that's official now. So we're going to go ahead and give our picks. You guys are more welcome to chime in along as we go along and let us know what your thoughts on that as well. And also, one of my favorite holidays coming up, man. We got the NFL draft coming up on Thursday. So we're going to give our takes on some of the top players, where we think they're going to go, where do we want them to go, how do we think it's going to play out. A lot of draft talk coming up. Obviously, we got another show on Saturday. We were recapping most of the round stuff, but this one's going to be more of like predictions and what we kind of think might actually happen. But before we get into all that good stuff, man, G Mike, why don't you let the people know what you got going on, my friend?
Yes, sir. Guys, I run a Telegram channel where we offer sports gambling slips for $10 a month. We get you winnings from anywhere from $50 to $100 to $150 a day. And lately, with the first round NBA playoffs, the MLB season is already 20 to 25 games in. It's looking good. We're getting a lot of money. So if you guys want to be a part of that, you'll see the link pop up in the chat if you're watching the live episode. If you're watching the recorded episode, it'll pop up on your screen, or you'll see my social media accounts. Slide in my DM. We'll have a little conversation to how to get you on and pop.
Absolutely, man. There's a couple of pieces we want to give a shout out to. We got Varsity Sports Nation. If you haven't been watching the show, I would highly recommend checking them out, man. It's your sports premier app. You want high school sports, they got you, man. You want college sports, they got you. You want sports content, just like you're watching right now, they got you as well. The best part is it's a convenient app that you can download on your iOS, your Android, your Roku TV, your Apple TV, your Fire TV, as well as your social medias. You can also catch our show on demand, which is always really cool. So we really appreciate Varsity for hooking us up with that. So check out Varsity Sports Nation. And last but not least, we also want to give a shout out to Millions.co. It's your home for interviews with athletes and sports content. You can get merch. We're going to try to put up some of our merch out there if you guys are interested in anything like that. You can also get hooked up with hundreds of other contributors. Check them out at sports@million.co. We really appreciate that, and we want to thank everybody that's been showing us support. Please tell your friends, tell your family. We're trying to get some more out there. But support the people that support us while we're doing that as well. And if you could give us a like and subscribe on Spotify and on YouTube, any of the socials, we greatly appreciate it. Just hit the bell, and it lets you know whenever the next time we are going live. We really appreciate all the support out there, man. All right, so now that we got that all out the way, let's actually get into what everybody came here to want to talk about, man. We got some playoff basketball, baby, and it has been a lot of playoffs so far, man. We're going to go ahead, and if you see the screen I'm here, we're going to go ahead and go from left to right over here. We're going to go ahead and start with the absolute beatdown that happened the other night with the Memphis Grizzlies and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Man, Ja Morant, he says, I don't think we'll ever play that bad again. And most people are like, I don't think you can ever play that bad again.
Yeah.
See, Mike,
I agree with him there.
Was that? 51 points, the fifth worst loss in NBA playoffs history. What the hell happened?
Dude, no scoring. There was no scoring from Memphis at all. OKC was having a defensive juggernaut game. They've been the best defensive team all regular season long, and now they just showed it in game one against the Memphis Grizzlies. And the Grizzlies, man, in my opinion, they don't deserve to be there. They shouldn't be there at all, honestly. But Ja Morant went 6 for 17, 1 for 6 in three-pointers. He only made 17 points. Anybody else in the starting unit in double digits? Negative. Not even Jaren Jackson Jr. That a lot of people like to say that Jaren Jackson Jr. is better than my guy Bam Adebayo. You could throw that out the window. That boy is not better than him. He went 2 for 13, 0 for 4 in three-pointers, only had 4 points and only 3 rebounds. Supposed to be a defensive stopper, right? But look, Chet Holmgren had 19 points on the other end. Jalen Williams had 20 points. Hartenstein had 14 points. The MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, only had 15 points, and they still won by almost 50 points. Like,
yeah, that's what I find the most impressive about this entire thing is the fact that Shea Gilgeous-Alexander only had 15 points. The rest of the supporting cast was able to carry the load, and they still won by 51 points. That is just an absolute beatdown. This game this series, I believe, is over. I don't foresee them actually getting a game at all. I think that Oklahoma City is just that good. And honestly, I think that a lot of people were impressed with that, besides the fact that it's 51 points, fluke games happen, crazier stuff happens. But I think the biggest thing with Oklahoma City is everybody wanted to see, can these guys be mature enough and do it? They're a really young team. And I think going out there and putting on a show like that really shows the fact that they are the real deal and they are for real this year, because last year they couldn't make it. It just seemed like they weren't ready. And I think that loss, sometimes a loss is better than a win, if you will, when it comes to some of these guys and these teams. And they just look so much better than I think than people expected them to look.
Yeah, so for like each game that we're gonna go through tonight, and then the next episode after that, because the playoffs are gonna be going on until June, and the NBA Finals comes around, right? So I want to talk about what does OKC or Memphis or any other matchup that we go on, but just right now with them, what does Memphis need to do differently from game 1 to game 2, and what does OKC need to do differently from game 1 to game 2?
Well, I'll start with the easy one. I think OKC needs to do nothing different. Just come out and play exactly the same. Play aggressive and don't get complacent. You did just put on a 51-point show, and that's amazing. But do it again and do it again. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't all of a sudden get complacent because you guys got that huge one. And then also, I think in the opposite goes for Memphis. Memphis, yes, you just got beat down. There is no way around it. That is embarrassing as hell. But what are you going to do about it? You're going to step up and all of a sudden you're going to just let them walk all over you like that? Or you're going to step up and this is the playoffs and realize the fact that, hey, you guys did make the playoffs. You had to work your way to get here. Great. You had to go through the play-in. But you guys are a team. You guys are grown men, and it's time to step up. So I think that's what Memphis needs to come in and play the dog mentality of like the old Memphis days where they were just absolute grinders. So if I'm Memphis, that game is done. That game was done in the first half. You know what I mean? Like you guys should be well rested because it wasn't like you're doing much. And so I think that they need to come back out and for the next game and just flat out forget about the past and move forward. It's playoffs. That's why they make series. Just because you lose game 1 doesn't necessarily mean you lose the series.
I think the owner for the Grizzlies needs to sell some stocks and give some money to OKC and bribe them and let them know, let us take at least one game or 2 games, make it somewhat interesting, Yeah. Nah, but for all jokes aside, man, they need to be more efficient on offense. You can't have your second best player only making 2 field goals. You can't have your best player only making 6 field goals. Your third best player only making 3 field goals. Your bench players, the only one that actually was doing good was Marvin Bagley, 8 for 8, 1 for 1 and 3-pointer, have 5 rebounds, 17 points in only 16 minutes. Yeah, maybe it was garbage time for sure. But still, he went out there and showed some grit and showed that he's not going to go out not punching. And I feel like that's what the starters for the Grizzlies did. They started to get down in the second quarter. They only scored 16 points while OKC had 36. And then they were just like, man, we don't know what else to do. OKC knew what to do. They came out the second half and they turned it up even more, scoring 44 points in the third quarter, man. It's just
so. I guess I have to ask the question just because it happened so recently. Do you think that had anything to do with coaching? They literally 100%. Just fired their head coach. I mean, I don't.
100%.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I totally understand the fact of like NBA doesn't necessarily matter as much, but you never know. Maybe he was the mature one in the room, and maybe that's what they needed or something.
Yeah, bro. I don't know, man, but they need to do something. Bo Nix, iPhone 6, Betty Cooker cake mix, Lakers in 5. All right, we'll talk about the Lakers a little more later, but I like that. I like that little Shannon Sharpe, even though he's going through a little bit of lawsuit right now, but that's a whole different other story. But Memphis, man, y'all need to make some more damn shots, bro. Jaren Jackson Jr., you cannot be an all-star and only scoring 4 points in a game 1. I'm sorry. I just can't.
Yeah, it has to. They have to just wipe the slate clean and start from scratch and start back over, man. Like that's all you can. And I do feel like that Memphis just seems like one of those teams that I don't know what kind of locker room presence they have. If they get their ass kicked again like that, I foresee them almost like throwing in the towel, if you will. You know what I mean? Like they still have to go back home, so that'll help them out a little bit. But they have to have a better performance this game to even have a remote chance, in which I don't think they still have a chance in it, honestly.
And it's funny you bring up the locker room, right? Do you think the missing link of Dylan Brooks not being there is a great influence on this Memphis Grizzlies team?
It's tough to say. It's tough to say, because like you take a guy like that that's so he's like the poor man's Draymond Green. He's a glue guy. You love him if he's on your team, hate him if he's not. I don't really think it has anything to do with that. I personally feel like they should not have fired their head coach whenever they did. They were doing perfectly fine. They went on a little bit of a skid, and all of a sudden now he's too hard on the players or something. I think that's a lot to do with that. Maybe they just don't. I think they fired the coach at the wrong time.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that firing the coach a week and a half before the playoffs was
you
just
have
incredibly
no way to get better at that.
But I do feel like Dylan Brooks' absence does take effect because obviously we don't know what's going on in the locker room with any of these teams, with any professional teams. Only they know, and the people that are involved in the locker room, right? But from my understanding, my guess is that he was the guy in the locker room saying, yo, let's go. They can't beat us, giving all the confidence, all the energy, all the positive energy to everybody in the room. And everybody else was following him and like, yeah, he's right. Let's go. And I feel like they don't have anybody like that now. Like, I don't think Ja Morant's a true leader. I think he can be, and he is a top player in the NBA, but I don't think he's a true leader when it comes to the locker room and trying to get guys hyped up or following a certain quota and try to, get the winning train going.
Right. Who's the alpha in the room in there?
Exactly. Like, I don't see it from him. I don't see it from Jerry Jackson. Maybe Desmond Bane, but I don't think he's outspoken as much. Obviously, I could be wrong, but from what I see, I just don't see anybody that is a true leader in the locker room.
Yeah, I could go along. I could definitely get along with that. I didn't really think about Brooks being that important, but you're right when you put it that way, because I don't really think they have a true leader, a true dog in that room besides Morant. But Morant, I don't think his personality is that. I think Morant is a finesse player, that damn good player. If he could just get his mind right, I feel like, and just focus on basketball, he's a lot better off. But I don't find him to be as a leader. You take like SGA and him. They're around the same age, but they handle themselves so much different. SGA is smooth as hell, always in confidence. You never know. You never have to question what's coming with him because he's all right. Morant just seems like a player that's a little bit easy to get off his game. If he's missing shots and he's off, he's off.
Yeah, no, he showed a game 1, 6 for 17, 1 for 6.
Yeah. We'll have to see what this one is. I think this series is one of the more absolute lopsided ones going forward. Memphis just has to come out this next one, and let's see what you got. If you're gonna lay down and die, or you guys gonna put up a fight. But
just real quick, you think OKC goes up 2-0 or Memphis ties it?
Nah, hands down 2-0. I think it'll be a better game. I think Memphis is going to come out with a little bit more pride, a little bit more come out. But no, OKC is. I can't foresee them doing that. I could see them. I could honestly say out of this one, I could see them sweeping. If I had to pick, I could see them sweeping in this one.
Yeah, but I see them going up 2-0 for sure. Going to Memphis
as well.
Taking 2-0.
Yeah. All right. Well, so we're moving on to the East over here, man, and that's your boys over here. We got the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Miami Heat. G Mike, we know you're a big Miami Heat guy. What did you see in game 1, man? What's your thoughts? How did this go?
Too many wide open shots for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think that they were shooting some shots that were not contested and either make or miss. You still don't want to see them. We want to see a lot of hustle on defense. That's what Miami does, the top 10 defense in the league. And we don't want to have anybody having any open shots. If players are making shots that are contested, we got to live and die with that. It is what it is. But we can't be having shots that are not contested. We need Andrew Wiggins to put more of an effort in trying to score the rock. 14 points is not going to cut it. We need 20 or more points with him, especially we're going to be the number 1 offensive ranked team in the NBA when it comes to the Cleveland Cavaliers with scoring the rock. Another thing is our big 3. We got to be more efficient. Tyler Hero, 7 for 18. Bam Adebayo, 10 for 22. And then Andrew Wiggins, like I mentioned, 5 for 11. We can't have that. We need to be more efficient with scoring the rock. And then the other thing is Ty Jerome for the Cleveland Cavaliers coming off the bench, scoring 10 for 15 from the field and 5 from 8 from three-pointer, which are 15 points just off of three-pointers. He scored 28 points off the bench. We can't have that. We can't have someone off the bench looking like Mike out there, man. It just can't happen. We need to be more collective as a unit, play better defense, be more efficient on offense, and stop the bench players from being stars out there.
Yeah, no, I think you're onto it as well, and that's actually one thing we're going to be. He's going to be in that conversation. We're having a little bit about the NBA awards. He's up for Sixth Man of the Year, and that category itself is going to be an interesting one to pick. I'm interested to see what your thoughts on that as well. But yeah, I don't. What would you prefer as a Heat fan? Would you prefer Adebayo being your leading scorer, or is it Andrew Wiggins or Hero? Like, if Bam's your leading scorer, I don't feel like that's a winning. I don't feel like that's a winning way for you guys. That 100%. Bam should be your second leading scorer, maybe possibly even the third, but Hero or Wiggins should be your leading scorer. And if Bam is doing that, I don't think that's a recipe for winning.
100%. Yeah, Hero has to be in the 30 marks. Andrew Wiggins got to be 20 to 25. Bam got to be 15 to 20.
Right.
Even then, I'm giving him like a little slight edge, but he should be 20 to 25 too.
Yeah, no, I agree. How confident are you going into the next game, man?
I'm very confident because Eric Spoelstra is 10-3 when it comes to game twos after losing game ones. So there's a lot of adjustments that Eric Spoelstra does. The thing is that the Cleveland Cavaliers, they're a good scoring team, man. It's tough to stop them. Their starters do what they need to do. Donovan Mitchell, 30 points, 11 for 19 from the field. He went 2 for 9 from three-pointers. Usually he doesn't do that. Darius Garland had 27 points, 10 for 17 from the field, 5 from 9 from three. And we stopped Evan Mobley and we slowed down Jared Allen, but Jared Allen did his job with 11 rebounds. So the Cavs did what they need to do with their starters, right? And the only bench player that went off was Ty Jerome. You take away those 5 threes that he made, that's 15 points. We're cutting this game to 6 points only and not losing by 21. So, there's some good stuff to be seen, but then there's a lot of bad stuff to be seen too. And when it comes to the Cavs, they did their jobs with their starters. And their main bench player, like you said, he's up for Sixth Man of the Year. He did exactly what he needed to do in game one.
Yeah, and I think as a Heat fan, I think that it's obviously you throw in that Heat culture thing a bunch that gets thrown around a bunch, but I think that Miami is a very resilient team, and they were they were fighting for the most part in that game. It wasn't like a total blowout like the box score says. It just when it actually mattered, they got out of hand at the end. Having said that, though, I think Miami has a chance. I just think that Cleveland is just so put together well. They're healthy this year. That was their problem last year. Coming into the playoffs, they weren't healthy. Half their team was, hurt. And so I think Cleveland is just put together extremely well. But I think Miami has a chance to surprise and make it a series at least.
Yeah, no, I definitely hope so. For me, it's gonna be very surprising for me if they take it to 6 games. Just on the fact of we can't close out games, which is what you saw in the fourth quarter of game one. There was 6 minutes left to go. We were only down 6 points. And look at the score, 100 to 121. Like, how did it get out of hand so quick? Because we don't know how to close out games. And then 2, Cleveland is going to make us pay. It's not like these other teams that will have a close game and then they'll be missing. And since they miss, we get that momentum off that defense. We transition well to offense and we start scoring and we end up winning games. Cleveland is not going to do that. Cleveland is a team that they'll start off slow, but in the second half, they're going to pick it up.
Yeah, I totally agree. And even if they do start off slow, you're hoping that they start off slow because they're that good offensively. A lot of times they don't, and you're just kind of hoping as a Miami fan, I'm sure, please just get off to a slow start because we have a chance at that one.
Yeah, literally.
But it's gonna be a fun series. I think that Cleveland is going to, I think, eventually end up probably taking the series if I had to take a guess in that one. But I think Miami will get at least one win out of it, though. I do think that they'll surprise them and one win in there.
Yeah, and I think Miami takes game 2. I think we'll take game 2, and I don't think Ty Jerome is going to score like that. I think maybe he'll put up 10 to 15, but 28, I don't see that happening again. I think we're going to be more resilient on defense, like how you were saying, and hopefully we can be more efficient on offense, but that hasn't been the case for us this season. So that's the only thing that I'm really praying for is that our offense picks up as I know our defense will.
Yeah. All right, we're going to move on to the another great series. And I think this one's probably been the most exciting series of the playoffs so far, in my opinion. The Denver Nuggets and the LA Clippers. Mike, man, this one's been back and forth almost the entire time. It's a cardio game, man. These guys have been going at it. What's your thoughts on this series, man? This has been great.
I love it, man. I love first round basketball. Well, you see the hashtag there. I love first round NBA playoffs basketball. One, because there's games every night. Two, because it's a lot more competitive than you will see the second round and the third round. In some ways, and not always, but in some ways, it's a little bit more competitive because everybody's still getting the groove. Everybody's still trying to get their feet warm. You know, when you come to the second and third round, people are already tired. So that's why it becomes less competitive, right? But with the series here, man, dude, since the tip off of game one till the last second of game two last night, that literally they could have won, they could have tied the game and go to overtime again. Dude, it's just been back and forth. It's been awesome. It's great to see a vintage Kawhi Leonard.
That's what I was about to say. How about Kawhi coming back, man?
Dude, man, 39 points, 15 for 19, 4 for 7 from three-pointer. He didn't miss his first shot until, I think, the third quarter. It was something like that. And it went in and out. It was just like rattled in and it went out. So it was like, it was still a good shot. You know, James Harden doing what he does at his age, he's still facilitating the Rock as well. 18 points, 7 for 17, 4 for 11 from 3, where he had some clutch three-pointers that put him up at halftime to get that momentum going. They scored like 9 points to go into halftime. But even on the other side for the Denver Nuggets, man, you know, we still haven't seen Jokic come out and be like, yo, you know what? I'm putting 30 on your heads and you're not going to do nothing about it. Yeah. You know, he's been nonchalant out there, which I think that's going to pick up. I think he's actually going to start scoring more because he sees how tight this series is going to be. He even said it. He even said it yesterday in the post game. Yeah, he was like, "Yo, if you're a real basketball fan, you'll really appreciate this series." But yeah, it's going to go back and forth. And to me, man, it's going to come down to who's the better coach at making adjustments and who wants it more.
No, I can't say any better than that myself, my man. That this series has just been fun. It's been each time. I was really happy to see Kawhi. You know, it's nice to see him finally actually doing something again and actually playing healthy basketball. He just had so many years of just like, you can see the talent is still there and he still got it. Just for something, either mental block, physical, just getting hurt. He could not just get right. And I think it's finally starting to come back together. And this Clippers team is dangerous, man. They're all around just a great team. What's his name? Zubac is playing fantastic as well. He's up for, I believe it was most improved player of the year, one of the awards as well. The Clippers, if they can get past Denver in this one, is a very scary team in the West.
Yeah, no, definitely. I wanted to ask you, with the role players of the Nuggets and the role players of the Clippers, obviously they need them to win. With these two types of teams, it's not like stars against stars and everybody else get the hell out of the way. No, with these two teams, they need their role players to win.
Yeah, they play full basketball.
Which group of role players from each team do you think will be more consistent for their team during this series?
Whew, that's tough. I think that the Clippers are a little bit more have a better bench. They're deeper than Denver is. I don't think Denver's bench is very deep, and I kind of feel like that was part of the problem why Malone and the GM both got fired, is because the way the Denver was constructed, that they don't go very deep when it comes to their the bench. To me, I think the Clippers have a way better bench, and I think that's going to be a big determining factor in it. What about you?
No, I agree. And look, like you even look at Bogdanović. He went 0 for 5, 0 for 1. He had 15 minutes. But imagine if he gets it going. I mean, yeah, he was like a top MVP candidate in the Olympics this past summer. Mm-hmm. You know, obviously, if it wasn't for Team USA being there, he probably would have got it, or him or Jokic, depending on who would have won it all. But you know, he got time to do work. You know, hopefully Ben Simmons can actually facilitate the Rock more, because I don't see him scoring a lot, but he could facilitate the Rock more and give some more assists for his guys out there. Nicholas Batum, he went 2 for 5. He probably could make some more 3-pointers, like 2 or 3 more 3-pointers. And then Derrick Jones Jr., they use him more for defense, but still, he hustles a lot out there. He could get some rebounds. So I agree with you. I think that the role players for the Clippers will probably play better and end up doing what they need to do for the Clippers to advance. Or
I
we'll see.
agree.
We'll see how the Denver Nuggets role players will do.
Denver also is battle tested though too. You know, like Denver's been in deep playoff runs. Denver's won the championship as of what was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it was. Denver has been in these spots, so Denver is also. I think you can't discount how a champion team already, and they've just done this not too long ago. So, but I do like the way the Clippers are constructed though. They're a damn good team, and I think they're going to give them everything they can handle.
Yeah.
All right, so we got another pretty exciting one going on over here. We got the back in the East, we got the Indiana Pacers and the Milwaukee Bucks. Big news coming out of this one is that Dame is coming back. Dame is supposed to play in the game, and I believe they're tipping off at about 4 minutes here, and tonight I believe it is. It's actually going on right now, and Indiana is out big, 31-16.
Yep.
If I have to pick a dark horse, I'm not going to lie. I like the Pacers in the East. The Pacers in the East, I think, are just a forgotten about team. I love the way their pace of play. They're fast. They just play awesome basketball. Halliburton's my guy. I love the way they're constructed. Siakam fits in great with them. Obi's playing pretty good. You know, like I like Indiana a lot, and I think that they could be a team that maybe a dark horse, throw a couple bucks on them to make it to the East.
Yeah, man. Like you said, like they're very well organized or orchestrated together. They run a lot, they hustle a lot, they play good defense a lot. They're very efficient in their shot taking and their shot making. Like right now, just looking at the box score, Pascal Siakam 3 for 4, Aaron Nesmith 2 for 2, Miles Turner 2 for 2, Numbar 1 for 2. Tyrese Halliburton 2 for 3. Dude, you're barely missing out here. Your starters are doing work, which is why you're up 31-18 on the Bucks, right?
And I love the way Halliburton facilitates the team too. Like everybody eats. He's I feel like he's one of the most underrated and unselfish guards in the league. Halliburton could take over a game, but you don't see him doing it unless he has to. He is perfectly content and perfectly in the zone to just, do what he needs to do to win the game. Halliburton could do it if he needs to, but I love that about I think that's a great sign of a point guard that really understands and has confidence and knows what he's doing. You don't have to take over the game. You don't have to be the guy, but if you need to, you can.
Yeah. No, and for Milwaukee, man, dude, game 1, Kyle Kuzma did not do anything. Did not grab a rebound, did not grab an assist, did not throw additional assist, did not score a point. Right now, starting game 2, 0 for 2. Not doing anything. So that trade right there for Kyle Kuzma trading away Chris Middleton. Yes, I know Chris Middleton was old and injured and probably questionable. But dude, man, you got to stick with what works. And he's a champion, and he can make some mid-range, and he could make some very smart plays. Kyle Kuzma, man, he has energy, and he'll run up and down the floor. He'll do what you need him to do, but he's not very efficient, man. And
is this like his 4th team in like 5 years or 6 years or something? I mean, I feel like he
went for the Lakers. He went for the Lakers to the Wizards and now Milwaukee, right? But with the Lakers, bro, when you have LeBron, when you got AD, when you got KCP, when you got Rajon Rondo, we got Dwight Howard, the veterans around you that know how to play the game. They're gonna tell you where to go, what spot you need to be in, and all that stuff. With the Milwaukee Bucks, they have some veterans, but some of them only have won, while the others have not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just looking at the way the Bucks are constructed right now, that team just doesn't seem like a championship contending team. The way they're just structured, 1 through 5, you got Dame and you got Giannis, and that's literally it. It seems like, in my opinion, it feels like Portis can do his thing. Now he's back, but just is that I don't really fear Milwaukee, and I don't feel like Indiana fears them either.
Yeah, man. And honestly, I had Milwaukee winning the series, but the way that I saw game 1 went, and now looking at the box score of game 2 and how it's going, Milwaukee cannot keep up with it. They can't keep up with them, and they can't be as efficient as them. So that defense is going to show, man.
Just a live look in real quick. It's 36-23 with 2:38 to go in the first. Milwaukee. It's going to be interesting, man. I hope Dame can come back and play, and he's able to finish out the series because it's going to be a very interesting offseason, I think, for Giannis and for Dame. And we'll see what the Bucks are going to look like, I think, next year, because I feel like that's kind of where the Milwaukee's future is looking towards next year of what's actually going to happen. Because I don't think they're going to get past the Pacers.
But do you think that they win tonight's game?
I think the Pacers are going to dominate. If you're looking at the score already, they're up doing pretty well. And if Indiana can start out already scoring 36 in the first quarter, they're going to average probably 150. I think that's what they normally average for the season or so, something like that. So I don't know. Yeah. Defensively, I think that's where Indiana's downfall will necessarily be. But the way Indiana plays, though, is that you have to score just as much as they do because they don't care if you score a bunch because they know they can score. So I think that's where their slight maybe downfall will come in. But I think the Pacers are going to handle this one.
Yeah, I don't think Milwaukee can play great defense, man. I don't think they're going to be able to stop them. Yeah, they'll have a shooting clinic from Damian Lillard, and they'll have Giannis put up at least 30, grab 15 boards. But I don't feel like it's going to be enough when you got all the starters for the Pacers being efficient, and then even the bench, there's 2 guys off the bench being efficient already, and it's like they got to play good defense, man, because their offense, they don't have to worry about offense. Milwaukee has offense, but they don't have perimeter defense, and their interior defense is kind of lackluster against a tall.
Which is ironic because that was the whole reason they brought in Doc Rivers randomly, because he was supposed to be a defensive-minded guy and hasn't helped them out at all. They've actually gotten worse on defense than when he wasn't there. So,
but they don't have defensive players like Tyron Pence, not a defensive player. Kyle Kuzma, not a defensive player. Brook Lopez, not a defensive player. Damian Lillard, obviously not a defensive player.
Brook used to be, but I think at this point he's just there for a big man, and just kind of
He grabs rebounds and he'll shoot threes. That's it. But other than that, even the bench players, there's no defense there. They're all straight offensive minded. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I think Indiana's going to handle this one pretty easily, in my opinion. So, all right, we're going to move it back out west, and we're going to go ahead and get on to this one. This one was a bit of a surprise to me. The Lakers and the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Minnesota Timberwolves are up 1-0 on the Lakers. We already had someone checking in and talking about it. Man, this was kind of a shock to me. I'm not going to lie. I did not expect that the Lakers were going to be down 1-0. G-Mike, what was your thoughts on this one, man?
I didn't expect the Lakers to be down 1-0 for sure. And especially, I did not expect Jaden McDaniels to go 11 for 13, 3 for 3 with 25 points, and Naz Reid off the bench with 8 for 12, 6 for 9 from three-pointer, and 23 points combined, 48 points from these 2 role players, right? You take that out of the equation, each one of them scoring what they really score, which is half of that, right? So let's say 25 points, right?
Yeah.
No one else is doing any work. Julius Randle, only 16 points. Anthony Edwards, a slight 22. You would think that he would score 30. But
if you're coming away with a win against the Lakers, then I would think you would be thinking he's gotten 40.
Exactly.
Something like that.
Exactly. So I don't think that they do that again. Right. And if they do, it's probably going to be one more game. And if they do again, it's not going to be both of them together in the same game. I think it'll probably be different games. Right. So if let's say it goes that route, the Lakers, they're chilling. Right. They're chilling. They don't have to panic right now. But what they do need is a 4th guy to help them score, because you got Luka with 37. You got Braun with 19. You got Austin Reeves with 16. And then everybody else is not even in double digits. They need someone else to help them score the rock, because if the Timberwolves do play devil's advocate here, do have Jaden McDaniels and Naz Reid go off like this every single game with Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle doing a slight 16, they're going to end up losing this series. But for me, if you're asking me, I don't think they got it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for checking in, Mr. Poole. I agree. I think they got lucky as well. I think that I almost feel like it's damn near impossible in a series that Luka and with a LeBron Luka that they're going to get knocked out in the first round. It just feels like it's impossible for that to actually happen, to be honest with you. Having said that, though, I feel like the downfall of the Lakers is going to be finally that's going to catch up to them about the size. They don't have much for centers. They don't have very much for size, and I think that the Timberwolves are a big ass team. That's, to put it lightly, they got a lot of size on them. So I think that's going to be the downfall of of the Lakers if this does go in the Minnesota's favor. It is still in LA, so they have to take this next game to keep home court advantage. But I think that's going to be the hardest part for me, in my opinion, is the size of Minnesota. I do think that the Lakers will be able to pull it out, but that's where the problem for me comes in, is the size of Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, Jackson Hayes only played 8 minutes. He's supposed to be the big. Alex Len, the backup big, only played 3 minutes. When you got a big team like the Timberwolves, like Steve is saying, Jaden McDaniels is out there most of the time, and he even said it in the post-game interview that he was the tallest guy out there. He's like 6'10".
Yeah.
Can't have that. You got to play big against these guys. I know Alex Len and Jackson Hayes aren't the guys that you really want out there, but you're gonna have to. You're gonna have to put some bodies out there. You got to. You need to put bodies in front of them, bro. They need to be. Alex Len needs to be in the 10 to 15 minute mark, while Jackson Hayes from 15 to 20 mark. I'm sorry, it needs to happen. Like, we can't be having out here Dorian Finney-Smith with 33 minutes, and we need to chop that down when he's only going 1 for 5 and 1 for 3 and threes. And the same thing with Gabe Vincent. Gabe Vincent 25 minutes, 1 for 3.
Yeah. Do you think that? So I mean, Luka ended up with 37. Luka didn't have a bad game at all. Luka's going to do it, get his. Do you think that Luka needs to be more of a facilitator, or does he need to take over and be more the dominator? And maybe LeBron take over as a facilitator. You know what I'm saying? Like, who do you think needs to step up and change the game? Because it's a series, so that's where it kind of gets different. A 1-game sample size is different. One game, one guy can do one game, the other guy. But who do you think needs to be more of the facilitator? Who needs to be more of the scorer?
I would say Luka needs to be more the scorer. He's the younger one. LeBron, 40 years old. He's not going to be able to be running up and down the court all day, every day. So he needs to relax and chill and set up the plays and whatever. But if you actually look at the box score, and if you were watching the game, most of the time they were playing one-on-ones, right? But that's how Luka likes to play. He likes to play the one-on-one stuff because if he drives in and they double team, he kicks it out. Right. Yeah. But when that happens, players need to make shots. Austin Reeves, 5 for 13, 3 for 8 in threes. LeBron, 8 for 18, 1 for 5 in threes. He needs to make his 3-pointers. Like he needs to be more efficient there. Rui Hachimura, 3 for 9, 3 for 7 in threes. So those were the 3 shots that he made were the 3-pointers. He needs to be more efficient there too. And even off the bench, you had 5 guys off the bench shoot 12 shots, and they only made 3.
Yeah, that can't.
You can't have that. You're not going to be able to win like that. And then obviously, when you have the other team's 2 role players scoring 48 points,
right? Yeah. No. The next game is. I do think though, as far as momentum goes, and it goes without saying, obviously you want to keep home court, but I do think it's big for the Lakers that Minnesota doesn't get confident, because Anthony Edwards, you get that guy some extra confidence that he already has. He's going to start taking over. So I think the next game is so much more important for LA than it is for Minnesota. I think Minnesota can, if they lose this next one, go back home, stay at home for a couple games, and see how it is from there. But this next game is extremely pivotal, in my opinion, for the Lakers to be able to do this, because they're going back. They have to go back to Minnesota after this point, and they're a confident, brash group. So if you give those guys any kind of thing for bulletin board material or anything that says we can dominate and beat the Lakers, that's big.
Yeah, man. No, and if you jot down half those points from those 2 role players, Minnesota's only up by like 6.
Correct. Yeah, it's wild whenever you break down the stats like that, Yeah. All right, so the next game is gonna be extremely important, and we'll definitely be watching that one. All right, so we're gonna move back out east, man, and this one's been pretty cool too, man. Really exciting out there in the East. We got the New York Knicks and the Detroit Pistons. I'm impressed with the Pistons, man. Going into this one, we had some stuff going on, so we couldn't really get it, but I was actually going to pick the Pistons to beat the Knicks in this series. I just like the way they're playing. They're young, they're grimy, they play like Detroit, man. I like the way they're playing, and it just seems like the same thing happens with the Knicks, man. They kind of just bog out when it comes to the playoffs just because they play just their style of play. What's your thoughts on this one, man?
No, I like the Pistons, man. I think they run deep. The Knicks, I think Tibbs, he likes to run his starters to the ground. Like if you're on a Tibbs' team, you better know if you're a starter, when it comes to playoff time, you're going to be playing every game 40 to 42 minutes, whatever the hell.
Yeah.
It's insane. But I think the Pistons run deep. They're just very inexperienced. And you saw that in game one when the fourth quarter, they were up
They
like
play a 21-point lead or something.
They're up 8 points with like 8 minutes left to go. And then Jalen Brunson checks back in, and the Knicks go on a 21-0 run. Mm-hmm. And if you're doing that, if you're giving up those type of runs in the fourth quarter, it's a recipe for bad behavior. And they almost did it again in game two.
Yep.
But they leveled it. They leveled it. They ended up getting a clutch shot from Dennis Schroeder. He hit a nice three to put him up by 5 points and it gave him a little cushion, right?
Yeah.
But the Knicks are a better team when it comes to execution, when it comes to play design, when it comes to sometimes offensive scoring capabilities. But the Pistons are better defensively. They're a young, faster, hustling type of team, and they can get it done. They just need their players to be more efficient on offense. You can't have Tim Hardaway Jr. going 0 for 8.
What a surprise. I lived through
Right?
that Tim Hardaway Jr. experience for years with Dallas.
You know what I'm saying? You can't have Ashur Thompson foul out when he's covering the best player on the floor. There's a reason why he's covering the best player, because he's a great defensive player. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he's on all defensive teams. They'll probably take it away from him, but it is what it is. You can't be fouling out when they need you in those last 8 minutes of the game. Those last 8 to 5, whatever the case was, or when he got fouled out. And then on the bench, Dennis Schroeder, he came out and scored 20 points, so it looked good. But when you look to the Knicks side, their starters are all in double figures, but their bench is lackluster, which is why the starters run from 40 to 44 minutes a game in each and every game in a playoff game.
Yeah, and it has a little bit to do with as well with what we're the next series we're going to be talking about as well with the Rockets. Sometimes it's interesting with these young teams. They don't know to be scared in the playoffs because they don't really, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're so young that, like, it doesn't, they're looking at it like, hey, we got nothing to lose. And I feel like that's the way Detroit plays, is that they're not worried about, they're not expected to be good. And so the fact that they made it this far, I think they broke a 21 season drought of winning in a playoff game. These guys are already breaking the mold and doing. Yeah, exactly. So they're already doing better than what everybody expected it to. I know I did not have Detroit making the playoffs, let alone being they're a 6th seed, I believe, in this one, and winning a playoff game. If you would ask me that at the beginning of the season, I would have said you're nuts. That ain't happening yet. They're not ready. But I love the way they play. I like them to win the series, to be honest with you. I think that New York is just gonna get tired out.
Yeah, dude. I think they're going to get tired out too. And right now, if you really put it in perspective, Detroit should be up 2-0 on the road going home.
And that's going to be a loud stadium, boy. It's been a long time since Detroit had some playoff basketball. Think about how whenever the Lions, granted they were just as in a drought as well, but think how loud that Lions stadium was. I think it's been even longer for the Pistons to host a playoff game, man. That's going to be one loud arena, man. I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, this is another good series. I think behind the Nuggets and Clippers, this is my second favorite series.
Oh, I agree. Who do you think takes the next game?
I think Detroit's going to take the first game at home, man. I think it's going to be a different atmosphere, even though New York is hard and gritty, and they'll for sure make sure that they're punching Detroit in the face. But Detroit will take those punches and they'll reciprocate, man. They'll come back. They just need to. I think throughout the whole series, they're going to learn how to close out games, and it will start with game 3. They're going to learn how to close out, and it's not going to be a close game. They'll probably win by 10.
I'm in. I agree. I agree, man. All right, so we're going to move back out west for the last of the West, the West first round that we got going on. We got the Houston Rockets and the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors are up 1-0 on Houston. Steph showing you who Steph is again. Playoff Jimmy's in full motion, man. What's your thoughts on this one, man? This is really interesting. Houston came in, had a hell of a season. They're the number 2 seed. But Golden State just is – I think they're just showing that they're a better team, man. Like these guys, that actual playoff experience, I think, actually does matter. Houston on paper, I think, probably has a better roster right now. But Golden State is just playing on another level, and I think Steph realizes, you can see that the hourglass and Father Time going away, and then he realizes that, hey, we have a legit chance to make some noise in this playoff run. After Jimmy Butler came there, it's changed the dynamic how they play. Everybody's playing younger. Everybody's playing really well for Golden State. There could be a dark horse in the West as well.
100%. And it's just the big brother playing against the little brother, man.
Yeah.
The Rockets and Golden State Warriors, since Curry has been there, they faced a lot of each other in the playoffs. Obviously, this is a completely different team that the Rockets have, but some players are still the same for the Golden State Warriors. They probably know a little bit of the tendencies of how to win. The Rockets, they have one player on their squad that knows how to win, while the others, they don't really know how to win. Right?
Yep.
Golden State has one of the smartest players in the league in Jimmy Butler. I've seen it firsthand in Miami. He takes it to Golden State, and he shows that he knows how to win. He knows exactly what plays to make and to get his other players involved, right? I think the only thing for the Warriors is they need more from their bench, and especially Buddy Hield. They brought in Buddy Hield so he could be an arsenal of a sniper. He only went 1 for 4. 0 for 2 for threes. When he's supposed to be hitting threes, he's actually been in the 3-point shooting contest. Should be hitting those.
You also go to the flip side of that is saying that they still won when Buddy Hield didn't do anything.
Exactly. So imagine when he does something. When he does something, you get what I'm saying? For the Rockets, Fred VanVleet, man, you got to be better. You're an NBA champion. You're one of the reasons why the Toronto Raptors won the NBA champion when Kawhi Leonard was there, when Kyle Lowry was there. But you went 4 for 19, 2 for 13, only 10 points. Yeah, you had 7 assists. You're facilitating out there, but they need you to score the rock more, man. Imagine you guys only lost by 10. Got to do better. Yeah. And with the Rockets as a whole, you can't have a 13-point scoring outing in the second quarter. That cannot happen again. You need to be scoring anywhere from 18 to more points in a quarter.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that Golden State needs to fear is almost themselves and just staying healthy. Hopefully, Steph, he had a couple injury scares going into the playoffs. He seems like he's okay, but I think that if and I hope it doesn't happen, if Steph does get hurt, that changes the entire dynamic of everything. Because Steph is just so important still at his age to the Golden State Warriors. That his stuff is just so damn remarkable, and just to watch him, so exciting still. What he brings to the table, man, just changing the way the league is played. He just doesn't. I don't know, man. I love watching Steph Curry, man. He's definitely going to be one of those missed whenever he's gone.
Yeah, another player that needs to be better is Jalen Green. 3 for 15, 0 for 4 in threes, only 7 points. He had 8 rebounds, so he was hustling out there, but he wasn't making shots. Maybe he had those jitters, game 1 jitters, first time playoffs. I don't see him doing that again. I think he'll score more than 10 points in every single game from here on out. But, it just sucks that it happened in game 1. You give the momentum to the Golden State Warriors. They steal 1 game out of Houston. Let's see if they don't steal game 2. Because if they steal game 2, it's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough. But I think Rockets will take game 2. I think they tie this series tonight.
I think Golden State's just going to go up on them again, and then have to go back to Golden State, and that's where it's going to be tough. I just think that Houston's just not ready yet. I think that they have the nucleus going, and I think they have a good core. Jalen Green is really good. It's just I think that Golden State's experience, and let's face it, playoff Jimmy, playoff Steph is two guys you don't want to have playoff playing against, man.
That's for sure.
All right, so we got one more series, and we have the defending champion Boston Celtics taking on the Orlando Magic. And Orlando, first half, looked okay. They looked okay. Wasn't, I think that some people might have been a little bit more impressed, but yeah, exactly. No, I totally agree. The Rockets can't beat Golden State in the series. I agree.
No, I don't think they do, but I think they tie it up tonight. But no, I think Golden State takes it.
Yeah, I agree. Even though the Rockets are the higher seed, I don't see them now, especially if Golden State wins the next game in Houston and they have to go back to Golden State. There's no way they're getting
that'll be crazy.
Not happening. But Orlando, yeah, they started off actually taking the lead as a surprise in the at halftime, and then Boston showed why they're the defending champions. Man, Boston, it's going to be really difficult for anybody to beat Boston whenever you have everybody just shooting the way they shoot. It just facilitating the ball and playing the way they've been playing. If I had to say out of this series, I do think that Boston might hiccup on one, possibly two. I think it'll be a gentleman's sweep. I think Orlando has the capability to be able to defend well enough to make Boston annoyed and then make Boston kind of shoot bad shots. But the flip side of that is they have very intelligent players that you have to be able to have so many guys be off for them to lose, and which is damn near impossible that all of these guys are going to be off, And so I think Orlando has the capability, and they just don't have the scoring. It's pretty pedestrian, the scoring that Orlando has. It is so blatantly obvious what they need going into the offseason as offense. They shouldn't have anybody that can play defense anymore on that team because it's already established. You guys need someone to score. And they brought in KCP for $60 million to be the scorer. He's not even taking shots. You got Corey Joseph barely even taking shots. Where they between the two of them, took 4 shots and missed both or something? I don't know what Orlando needs to do as far as be able to survive some of these. Maybe put Cole Anthony in there, give him a little bit more minutes going into the playing game. He had a couple good series. He looked a lot better, looked a lot more aggressive. What's your thoughts, man?
You hit it right on the head. I don't even have to say too much, man. Honestly, Orlando, they just need to score the ball more. Boston, dude, Porzingis, 1 for 8, 0 for 2 in threes. Drew Holiday, 3 for 6, 3 for 4. It don't matter. Derek White had 30 points. Jaylen Brown had 16 points. Jason Tatum had 17 points. Peyton Pritchard, which in my opinion, 6th man of the year, 19 points off the bench, going crazy. It was going crazy. And then for Orlando, they have Paolo with 36, which is great. He got to do what he got to do. Franz Wagner, 23, which is great. He got to do what he got to do. Ask me if anybody else even got close to 10.
Right.
Negative.
Yeah, and I think with the thing with Orlando is that the good thing they do have is they do have 2 young superstars that do seem like they like playing together, that they want to build something in Orlando. I haven't heard either one of them complaining at all about anything that's going on there with the lack of offense for their players. They've maybe dropped a couple hints like, hey, maybe step it up a little bit. But they're both 2 mature young players that I think are playing. They're on the brink of becoming those superstars, especially in Paolo. So they just need to get somebody else to take the load off of them, because what happens is they know that they put Paolo in isolation, and he's a good facilitator. At least he's smart enough to get rid of the ball. But if no one else is going to make the shots, it doesn't matter what else you do if you're able to get all the defenders on you and no one's going to either take the shot or make the shot. Because it seems like a lot of times they'll get rid of the ball, they'll walk around a little bit, wait for him to get back open possibly, and then give him the ball again. It's like, what are you guys doing out there, man? Somebody else take over for this poor guy because he can't do it all. And Franz does his own thing too. Franz is a great player. That's a great 2A. I would love to have that going on. But they need to absolutely get somebody else to step up and do something for these guys.
And this is why they miss Jalen Suggs so bad, because he was turning into a shooter. Obviously, he's a great defensive player.
Even still, though, Suggs is going to give you 12 to 15 at best.
Better than fucking 6 and 4.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. But I think Suggs is definitely missing without a doubt. But I don't think Suggs was necessarily the answer per se to what their actual problem is.
Yeah, 100%. They need another scorer. They need to go out in midseason, try to go get KD. KD looking like he's trying to get up out of there, man.
Something. They need something. They need a bona fide scorer. Ergo, like I was saying before, Walter Clayton Jr., go get him, and I think that changes a lot of things for him. Someone that's just going to flat out shoot the ball. But, that's a long time from now. I mentioned it before. I do think that Orlando will get at least 1 win. Do you see that? Maybe 2? Or do you think that it's over with and they're pressing out the brooms already?
I don't know, but tonight I think Boston goes up 2-0. I don't think they lose at home. I don't think Boston lose at home at all, honestly. So
yeah,
even if it goes 7 games, the Celtics is going to take it.
Definitely. I don't think Orlando's going to win the series by any stretch. I just think that Orlando, their defensive capability that they have, will at least get them 1 win, maybe 2 if Boston's just off. But I think they'll at least get 1 win. It might be like Game 3 when they first get back. When they first get back to Orlando, or the closeout game because Boston's already moving on to the next one, But I think Boston is just way too stacked for Orlando to be able to maintain with that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you alluded to it a little bit ago, and that's we like to call it professional tease. So we're gonna go ahead and get to these NBA awards. We're gonna go ahead and start with Mr. G Mike's six-man pick of the year. We got Peyton Pritchard and what was it Malik? I'm sorry, my computer was messing up. Who is it? I can't even see it on here. My computer is messing up. Sorry,
Malik
man.
Beasley and Ty Jerome.
Thank you, man. Sorry, my computer froze up for a second. I couldn't see what was going on. Anyways, man, so you alluded to it a little bit ago. Your pick is going to be Peyton Pritchard, and I am going to second that like crazy, man. Peyton Pritchard is ridiculously good off the bench, and I think that's a perfect role for him. I wouldn't put him in as a starter per se. I love what he does come off the bench, man. You need someone to score. That guy got you. No problem at all.
Yep, and he could hit half-court shots. He could get 3-point shots. He could do some crazy footwork. I know you saw that one stop and go layup.
Yeah, man. I was about to say he's so much more smooth than I think a lot of people give him credit for. People just think he's a shooter, and he also has great defense too. That's an underrated part of this kid's game is that he has great defense as well. And Boston has great defense, so he fits exactly in. And he's the absolute perfect person for Boston. Boston has a perfect design going. They got a bunch of shooters out there, and they all facilitate the ball, and whoever gets that open shot is most likely going to be making it, man. So I agree. I'm taking Peyton Pritchard in here, man.
Yeah, Orlando should go and try to trade for him.
So, yeah, I don't know what his contract situation is, but that would be a great player for them to be able to pick up, though. I was thinking about that this morning as well, man. Yeah, all right, so we're moving on to the next one. And this one we were talking about a little bit ago. I'm not super familiar with this one. I don't know if this is a new one, but it's NBA's Clutch Player of the Year. You got Jalen Brunson, Anthony Edwards, and Nikola Jokic. This one, I'm not even sure how they're determining it. Obviously, like buzzer beaters or something like that. This one, I didn't know they hadn't had this one in here. But I'm going to go with my guy, Jalen Brunson, but I think Anthony Edwards will win because they want to give Anthony Edwards something so they can keep this narrative that he's one of the faces of the league.
I mean, dude, he should be one of the faces of the league with his play and the fact that he's so outspoken. Like people love that. I don't know, but I do go with Jalen Brunson here. I see him a lot when it comes to games that they're down like maybe 10 to 5 points. And it's like 5 minutes left to go, 6 minutes left to go. You saw it in game one. You saw it in game two as well if you were watching. He ends up bringing the Knicks back, and they end up either winning or tying the game or just losing by a little bit. So I think Jalen Brunson is a good clutch player for sure.
All right, so games on line. These three have these three. Who you want taking the shot?
I'll go Brunson because he knows how to draw fouls. He knows how to
go
do
Brunson
that
as well.
Yeah, he'll take the ticky-tack fouls, so he'll know how to draw them. So if you need to get to the free throw line, he's going to get there.
And also could just be, too, that I'm still sad that he left out. So, I wish he'd just come back, man. But no, I'm going to, out of this one, I'm going to, my pick would be Jalen Brunson, but I think Anthony Edwards will win this award, though. All right, moving on to the next one, man. We got the Coach of the Year. We got Kenny Atkins, JB Bickerstaff, and Ime Udoka. Man, these are some all great teams, great coaches. I'm going to go JB Bickerstaff, man, especially after pulling off that win the other night in the playoffs. I know this is supposed to be a regular season award, but if you can break a 21-some-year drought or 20-season-some-year drought and win a playoff game in Detroit, I think that's impressive as hell, man.
I'm going to go Ime Udoka, man, to get the second seed in a Western Conference, a stacked Western Conference that you saw from the second to the eighth. Like, dude, it was super close. And for a young team like that, yeah, they had the NBA champion, Fred VanVleet, so he could lead them out there. But still, a lot of those players are young. They don't know how to really to win like that. And if you got a coach that knows how to win and he knows what he's doing, you're going to turn out to be the second seed in the Western Conference.
It's interesting the way these three coaches are here too, is because the main thing is with Detroit and Houston, it's almost the same guy in the aspect of like it's two young teams that haven't had success in a while, and now that are doing really well in the playoffs. But it always seems like it's people underestimate sometimes, like Kenny Atkins here. Cleveland wasn't a fantastic team this year, but he's not going to get the credit because they were almost expected to be here because they were in the playoffs already. But yeah, I think so too. But what you got, James? Missoula no, 100%, man. I agree as well. But I think I'm guessing. I'm not even sure. I totally agree with that. I'm not even sure why Missoula didn't even get in this or either in here. But it's kind of interesting how that works out, though.
I feel like it has to do with storyline, really. Because look, Kenny Atkins, he came from what? What team was he assistant coach of? What?
Oh man, who was I think like Brooklyn, I think, or something.
Yeah,
Or
so
was he?
whatever. He was an assistant coach and he
Yeah,
turns
I
into a
forgot
head
where it
coach
was.
and you start off the season on a 15-0 undefeated record. Like,
Yeah.
so the storyline there, obviously, like you mentioned, two new head coaches for two young teams that both make it to the playoffs. One is the second seed, the other one a 21-year drought. Like, it's a storyline. I feel like
How about
obviously,
showing? How about Udoka also just showing too that he's taken two teams and flipped them around and brought them to the playoffs. Man, that's impressive as hell too. But my pick, I'm going to go with JD Bickerstaff here.
yeah, I got Ime.
All right, moving on to the next one. We got the Defensive Player of the Year. And speaking of Kenny Atkins, boys, I'm going to take Evan Mobley for this one. If you can't see it on here, we got Draymond Green, Evan Mobley, and Dyson Daniels as our Defensive Players of the Year. I am going with Evan Mobley.
I got Dyson Daniels, man, because to break a whole season franchise record of steals by Allen Iverson, man, that is big time, bro. And one thing I want to point out, man, why is Draymond on here? Like he only got on here like the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks of the season. Like,
I was thinking the same thing, man.
Like, dude, like, come on, man. Like, I don't want to be biased, but y'all keep taking off my guy Bam Adebayo off of this list, bro. I don't.
Well,
I don't
the reason I think
that.
the reason I think that Draymond made it on there was because God, what's his name? This got hurt. Forgive me, I've been talking too damn much, and I'm losing my train of thoughts here. It's God, Spurs. Help me out here, man. Save me.
Spurs. Oh, Wembanyama.
Thank
Okay.
you. Jeez, I couldn't think of it.
100%. He should win it, no matter what.
Yeah, I think how Draymond got on there, even in this conversation, was because Wemby got hurt. Otherwise,
then,
I think it was hands down.
You're gonna tell me that he did more work than Bam Adebayo, bro? Come on, man.
Oh no, I agree. I can see Bam being up there, man. I could go with that. All right, so
this is my thing, but
all right,
Evan
so
Mobley deserves it though. He deserves
so
it.
for Defensive Player of the Year, I'm going Evan Mobley. You got?
I got Dyson Daniels,
Not
steals
bad pick.
leader.
That's a good pick. Good pick. All right, so we got Most Improved Player, and your boys up there again, man. Dyson Daniels, man, had himself one hell of a year. Cade Cunningham, and we also got Zubac. All right, man. I'm gonna let you go first on this one. Who you got?
I got Cade Cunningham, dog. Like you turn your year around, get into the All-Star, then you take your team from a non-playoff team to going to the 6th seed. Obviously, a 6th seed is not so high up on the list, but you miss out of the play-in. That's a big accomplishment there, and never want to be in the play-in. And I think, like, bro, he turned into a great shooter, a great scorer, and you can see it on the court. He's very high IQ. Just facilitating the ball, creating his own shots, especially on the post. And dude, you're the leader of the team. That again, 21-year drought of not having playoffs. You take them to the playoffs, and look, you got your series tied right now.
Yeah, I'm following your lead on this one too, and I'm going Cade, man. Cade is starting to actually look like a flat out just baller and a true NBA player. He went from being just a guy that could score to now his game is just looking like he was that franchise guy that they drafted a couple of years ago. So I think he's had a hell of a year and taking Detroit. And I think Detroit has a bright future going. If he can stay healthy and can continue to grow, I think that he wins this one hands down, honestly. Dyson had himself a hell of a year, though, too, man. Yeah, all three of these guys definitely I would love to have on my team. But I'm going Cade Cunningham in here, too. All right, and so we have, before we get to the big one, we got one more. We got the Rookie of the Year. So this one, I'm going to go Castleton in this one, man. Who you got?
Yeah, I got Castle, too. Even though I forget how to pronounce his name, but Atlanta Hawks, dude, he was going off, but then when I saw him in the play-in against the Heat, he was nowhere to be found, bro. Or even the playing game before that, when they played Orlando, he was nowhere to be found either. So it's like, it's tough. I know it's only supposed to be regular season, but as human beings, we see it all. And dude, man, I don't know. I like Castle more. He did a lot more for his teammates, especially when Victor Wembanyama went down.
Yep,
he was doing a lot for them as a rookie.
And I think having Chris Paul in there too, that's going to help him out a lot. Having that veteran presence, that veteran leader, and I think it's going to be. I think he's going to be a good player. So I'm going to go Castleton as well. All right, so we got the big one. We got the MVP. We got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. All right, big dog, you're up first. Who you got?
I just want to say I think all of them deserve it 100% in their own ways. Jokic having crazy numbers, triple-double numbers, leading his teams to win. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, this guy is putting up so many damn points, leading his teams to win, and obviously them having the number 1 seed in the NBA. Defensively, top 3. Offensively, top 3. So that's pretty tough to do. Giannis always leading his teams when it comes to scoring and grabbing rebounds, facilitating a little bit more, obviously playing defense as well. But just like James, man, I got to go SGA, man, is that his season just was so incredible. He has so many 30-point games. He had a lot of 40-point games as well. He had a few 50-point games. Like, this man can just score the rock. A lot of them have to do with free throws as well. Not going to take that away from the people that say, oh, I don't like that he goes to the line so much and this and that. He's just a very smart player, and he knows how to use his body and get to the line. It's not his fault that the NBA rules are changed to the way of that. He just has to adapt his game, and he does, and he scores at will, and no one can stop him.
Yeah, I think Nikola is amazing, and he should be an MVP candidate every single year until he retires. But I'm going to go SGA this year. I think that SGA has just proven the fact that he has more of a chance to be that face of the league that anybody wants to crown somebody. SGA he's so smooth on the court. I love his demeanor. He never seems too high, never seems too low. It just seems like the moment's never too big for him. Scores at will. He's also, if like Ergo last game, he only scored 15 points, and they still were dominant in that game. So like he's the type of guy that he just does it right. He's very efficient. He doesn't waste shots. He doesn't take bad shots. And if he needs to play defense, he's got you on that as well. So I think it is SGA's year this year. And I believe that was your preseason pick, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had Luka, and that didn't work out too well for me.
Yeah, but he was injured, 25 games?
Yeah. Something else happened to Luka this year too that I don't really want to talk about that one. But,
I wonder.
I mean, did something else happen? I can't remember. All right, man. So that's our picks for the NBA awards, man. So now we're going to go ahead and wrap this up with a little bit of NBA draft talk because it is one of my favorite times of the year. It's so much excitement that's coming up. So we're basically going to go over some of the top prospects at the top offensive positions. If you have any other ones that you guys want to talk about, or even you want to talk about, G-Mike can chime in here. So we'll start with the one that everybody always talks about, man. We have the quarterbacks. And so this year we got Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart, and Tyler Charbonnet, I believe his name is, out of Louisville. Those seem like they're the top 4 picks that everybody's ranting and raving about. So I want to play a game here of where do you want to see them go and where do you think they're going to go? We can go with Cam Ward. I think that one pretty much, unless something drastic happened, I think that's already pretty much set in stone that he's going to the Tennessee Titans. Agreed?
Yep.
All right. So the one that everybody wants to talk the most about, which I think is going to be the most interesting one. Again, the question was on here, where do you think he's going to go and where do you want to see him go? We got Mr. Shedeur Sanders. Where do you think he's going to go? Is he going to go in the first round? Is he going to drop out and fall into the second? What's your thoughts on Shedeur? Where do you want to see him go and where do you think he's going to go?
I want to see him go to the Browns because I think the Browns are going to take Travis Hunter in the second pick. I would like to see him paired up with his teammate, give him a little bit more confidence as well, even though he does not lack confidence whatsoever. But still, you play with someone that you're going to see them around your job all the time and all this stuff. It's going to give you a little bit more confidence. I think the Browns have another pick in the first round, if I'm not mistaken. I think if they do, they will take Shedeur with that second pick. If they don't, they'll probably take him in the second round. But I would like to see him go there. I think he will go to the Browns. If I have to choose another team where I think he might go to, it might be the Las Vegas Raiders on a second round pick.
Interesting. All right. So I am going to go with Shador. I think he is. I think that is real. I think he is going to drop. I think he's going to end up on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think he's going to have a pretty massive drop because a lot of it's kind of wild how confidence can get you in a lot of places in life. It also can get you a lot of places out of life as well. And I think that he comes off as just, lack of better terms, I don't know the kid at all, but it just comes off kind of arrogant. And I understand where his dad has got the swag, and he's been coming off that way. He has all the talent, and it's probably got to be extremely hard that you're told that you're the best for so long, and then some of the scouts today don't see it that way. There's been some rumors they don't even think he's a first-round pick. So I think that Pittsburgh will end up grabbing him. The other place that I think that he could end up, which I do think he would be probably a better suited, the way I'd like to see him end up, is the New Orleans Saints at the number 9 pick. I think that that's enough of a drop for him to fall if people aren't as interested. Derek Carr now, the drama going on with Carr and his throwing shoulder, he might be out for the entire season now is what they're saying. So this could be an extremely long-term thing. The thing is that's really interesting with Shador, you're putting him back in a dome, in the Superdome. They could use some help at wide receiver, but if Chris Olave comes back, you got a true number 1 wide receiver. That's been on and off again being healthy. But I think that would be a huge benefit for Shador Sanders. And they also got new offensive coordinator there. They got Kellen Moore. And he's a pretty offensive guy. And I think Shador has the talent. I think it just has to go to the right team. And I think New Orleans could be a great landing spot for him. In the dome, the conditions be good. So I think that'd be an interesting spot for Shador. That's why I think he will end up where I think that he'll end up with the Steelers. I think that the Saints will not let him get past 9.
Yeah, some pretty good teams, actually. It's pretty good points.
So my out of the quarterbacks that are left, the one that's getting a lot of buzz is Jackson Dart. I think Jackson Dart is a very interesting prospect. He was an SEC guy. There's a lot of talks that the Saints were going after him. There's a report that just came out saying that they think that he's one of the best quarterbacks out there. So Jackson Dart's going to be a fun one to watch because he could fall or he could be way overdrafted. So I think that one's going to be pretty interesting to watch, especially in the top because he got some QB-needy teams. But I think the Giants could be an interesting situation because I feel like the Giants could move out of that spot, move back a few spots, get a lot of picks, and then possibly end up with Jackson Dart. So I think that would be an interesting pick for the Giants as well by moving out of the pick. And now if they're staying in that spot, if they're staying in the number 3 spot, they're not doing that, obviously. But I just think that'd be something to watch out for.
I think the Dolphins might try to go for him.
I didn't really think about that. That's a great pick. I think he would fit the McDaniels mold. He's a pretty mobile guy. That's actually a great pick. I never heard anybody talk about that one. That's a great pick. I like that.
Yeah, because they need a backup, and with Tua, you never know if he's gonna be playing a whole season or not. Obviously, you don't want a rookie as a backup because you still want them to learn a lot. But
the Dolphins did get Zach Wilson, but you can say what you want about Zach Wilson. Who knows? It's TBD with him. He hasn't really shown much, but
yeah.
All right, so we're gonna move from the quarterback. Unless you got any other quarterbacks you want to talk about, any surprises, anything? No. All right. This year, man, there is stacked of running backs, man. This is the year for the running back, and there are so many damn good ones. You got Ashton Jeanty at the top. You got Omarion Hampton. You got Henderson and Judkins coming out of Ohio State. Caleb Johnson, Cam Skattebo. Someone else I wanted to give a quick shout out. I think it'd be really an interesting home run hit is RJ Harvey out of UCF. Mm-hmm. I think that there are so many guys this year that could make an impact on a lot of different teams. So we'll start at the top up there. Ashton Jeanty, where do you think he's going to go, and where would you like to see him go?
I would like to see him go to the Cowboys, baby. Damn.
What, 12? It is possible. That's not far-fetched. I don't see it happening, but it could.
I don't think it's possible because I think, one, the Raiders are going to take him. But if the Raiders don't take him, I think for sure, I would put my life savings on it, that the Chicago Bears are going to take him.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
And it's just man, but yeah, I think either of those teams, I think he'll be great in. I think it'll be super dope to see him in the Chicago Bears because Ben Johnson, he really likes to use running backs and actually give him the ball at the end zone, give him some touchdowns and stuff like that. And Jeanty's a running back that looks like he probably can't get tackled by anybody.
Yeah.
It'd be dope to see him there.
Yeah, so sorry, I hit the table. I had a slight earthquake, man. No, I think we're on the same page here. I think that the Raiders will take him with the 6th pick. But I would like to see him go to the Bears. I think that is the best spot for him. I think that he'll dominate with the Bears, that new offensive line. I'm pretty high on the Bears this year. I just love what they did, like you were saying with Ben Johnson. And they're definitely in need of a running back. Move DeAndre Swift as a backup instead of your starter. That would make them go dividends, I think, with them as well. I think Hampton could be a guy for your Cowboys to watch out for. I think that he's a great prospect. That some draft guys even have him higher ranked than Genty does. Yeah, I mean, so he's a damn good player to North Carolina. A little bit different body structure. They did play a little bit differently. But I think that your Cowboys could be a great spot for him. The one guy that I'm probably the most, besides Genty, because we all know Genty, if he goes to the right team, which I think that either the Raiders or the Bears will work out perfectly for him. I almost feel like he's like such like a for sure pick that he can't fail, if you will, barring injury, obviously. I'm super interested in Cam Skattebo out of Arizona State. I think this guy is just – he has so many different dynamics to him. He's got speed. He's got power. He can catch the ball. Where I would like to see him go is the Denver Broncos. I think Sean Payton getting a hold of a good running back like Skattebo and someone that's inventive, someone that can do a lot of things with a unique running back. And I think that would be the perfect spot for Cam Skattebo would be to end up either with the Chargers or with the Denver Broncos, man. I like Skattebo. I think he's just an interesting prospect, man.
I think he goes to the Niners. I think Shanahan will actually use him very well, and he'll be a star in that offense for sure.
Yeah, and actually that could work out for the Niners as well. They could probably get him. I think Skattebo is probably going to be like a second, third round pick, somewhere in there, maybe late second, early third. But I think whoever does get him, if he goes to the right system, he's going to be dominant. He's going to I think succeed in
the right system. Keyword
Correct.
Right system. Because
Correct.
if he goes to any other system that's just like foo lane with running backs, like it's going to be tough for him to do. Actually,
I agree. All right, so then you got any other of these running backs you want to talk about? Anybody else want to give a shout out to?
I think any of the Ohio State boys, I think any of them are going to do really good. I would like to see one of them on the Cowboys as well. If we don't get Genty, which I don't think we will, I would like to see one of them for sure. But any other team will be lucky to have them. I think there could be some good RB2s, maybe for some weak teams, a RB1. But, any of them going to maybe the Houston Texans, it could be dope. Maybe the Kansas City Chiefs, just because of the fact that Pacheco, they don't know if he's going to be super healthy or not. And obviously they got Kareem Hunt, but he's getting older on the older end. Any teams like that, honestly, I think any of those
smarter play calling guys.
Yeah. That they're going to use the running backs well.
Right.
I'll run them to the ground.
I agree. All right, so we're going to move on to the wide receivers real quick. And this wide receiver class has been talked about as being kind of weak. So this year we got Tetairoa McMillan. And so I guess I didn't really mention it because we're trying to figure out where we're going to put him. We got Travis Hunter going probably the two-way, the wide receiver / defensive back. So I'm going to go ahead and put him. I guess we can talk about him in the wide receiver. What do you think? What do you think he's going to play?
I think he's going to play both. I think one side maybe.
What's his main position you think he's going to play?
If I think he gets selected by the Browns, right, at number 2. And if he gets selected by the Browns, I think he's mainly going to play wide receiver because they need receiver work. But I do think he's going to get time to play in the cornerback position because he's already talked to the Cleveland Browns and he's mentioned that all the teams that he's talked to, they said that they're cool with him playing both sides. So I think he's going to get work.
I think he's going to play more corner than wide receiver. I think what they'll do is they'll put him in at corner and then have packages for him at wide receiver. I don't think that he's going to constantly stay at wide receiver. I think he's better suited actually on defense. I think he plays a little bit better on defense than he does with the wide receivers. But I think that he is a very capable, and they should play him and wide receiver package, especially in the red zone. And I think the thing is with Travis Hunter, that hasn't really been said, and he made that bold statement that I would rather retire than not play both sides of the ball. But he also hasn't said how much he wants to play. You know what I'm saying? So like he hasn't threatened saying that I refuse. I can only play full time. I think if a team can get him and have him play defense, let's go just fitting with the narrative I'm saying here, that well, if he plays defense and then switches over to wide receiver, 10, 15 play packages, that's still not bad. That's a wide receiver 3. That's a wide receiver 2. You know, they rotate out a lot. So I think that would be better suited for his game, and he can focus on both and dominate both. But I do think he can play both. I just don't think that it's smart. I just don't think it's smart for him to be able to be full-time at both right now. I guess if he's going to do it and he's young, it could work. But long-term, I think you have to pick one of the two, I feel like.
I feel like you should let him give him a try, though.
Yeah, maybe his rookie year, first 2 years or so, something like that when he's young. I mean, how old is Travis Hunter? Like 21, 22, right? He's a pretty young kid. So I think that he's got the body for it. He's already been doing it. He proved that he can do it. It's just the NFL is on a different level. The competition is different. The conditioning is different. The playbook is different. So I do think that he can be suited to play both. I just think he'd be better suited just playing defense and having some offensive plays in the books, especially red zone stuff or, nothing that's going to possibly get him hurt. You're not sending him across the middle and stuff because I think he needs to put on some weight too. But I think Travis Hunter is an amazing athlete, and I think that he's an amazing story, and I'm hoping that he can do exactly what he says because he's exciting as hell to watch. If you haven't got a chance to watch him, he's awesome to watch.
100%.
So Tedro McMillan seems like he's the big name for the wide receivers this year. You got Matthew Golden. But I personally think the add of this entire class, going back to Ohio State, and that one's going to be Emeka Buka. I think that he's going to be a fantastic pro. I can see him more as like a wide receiver 2. I don't think that he's going to be a wide receiver 1, but I think he's going to be a dominant 2. And I think that he's going to show up every day ready to work. Every report comes out that this kid is a professional, doesn't complain, just does route running, just does work. So I think that he's going to end up somewhere great, and I would love to see him on the Chargers.
Yeah, that would be a good spot for sure. They need that wide receiver help too, man.
They do.
Even though they signed Mike Williams back, but they still need some work.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then the last but not least, this year's tight end class has 2 superstars in it, and then we have your guy out of Miami, that's number 3. But this year's superstars are Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland. These guys are both extremely great athletes. Me personally, I think this one is a big thing for my team, the Colts. I would love to see Tyler Warren fall to them. I think that he is a all-around complete player. I don't think he's going to. I think the Jets are probably going to end up grabbing him. But
he's going to go to your opposing team, kid. That's going to the Jaguars.
You think so? Because that's the new thing coming out too. Is Genty to the Jaguars? Genty to the Jaguars all of a sudden is like a hot take now too. The Jaguars come out today and said they think he's the missing piece.
Already had 2 running backs that can do work. Like
why they would do it? I mean, you also have like an 8-year-old guy ready as your GM right now, or a 21-year-old guy, whatever the hell age he is. The guy barely. I don't know. That one's a weird one to me. But
yeah,
I think that Indianapolis ends up with one of these 2 guys, Colston Loveland out of Michigan or Tyler Warren. I would prefer Tyler Warren. I think that he could do a lot more than Loveland. But Loveland, I think, Loveland will be a great consolation prize, if you will, to Warren. They just play a little bit different. Loveland has the more prototypical, larger, bigger body tight end, and where Warren is a little bit smaller in stature, but is a lot does it play almost every position. Played almost every position. I think that they both are going to have great careers, and I think it just goes back to the same thing we've been saying too. That some of these great, phenomenal players, if they can end up on the right system, and Indianapolis needs a tight end so bad. So bad right now. So I think that one of the 2 of them will end up in Indianapolis.
Yeah. I don't know. I see Warren going to Jacksonville with the 5th pick.
Jacksonville, interesting, man.
Yeah, I think they take him with the 5th pick. They need a tight end. Evan Ingram.
They got what is it? Strange, I think it is. I think they got him. He was their 2nd-round pick. I believe that's their starter. They got rid of Ingram, so I could see them taking the chance on Warren. I mean, that would be. That's an interesting pick. I didn't even think about the Jacksonville Jaguars. I was thinking they're going to be taking Graham. That seems like that's been the most linked is Graham going to there. But that'd be interesting to see them get. Yeah,
Yeah, that would be a good pick too. Obviously, you want to cover Trevor Lawrence.
So, all right. Well, that's going to wrap it, I think, up for our show for today. Man, we had a great one for you guys. Enjoy these NBA playoffs. We will be back with you guys on Saturday, and we will actually have all the results, for the most part, of the NFL draft, and we can definitely talk about that a lot more. We'll have a lot more games covered for the NBA playoffs, so we'll be going to back that. And we're hoping to get some feedback from you guys. If there's any kind of questions you guys want us to debate, want us to talk about, let us know. I want to thank James for checking in with us a bunch and Ash for checking in. We really appreciate everybody that's checking in and watching online and giving the likes. Thanks to Scott for giving a like and Earl for giving us a like as well. We really appreciate everything you guys are doing for us, man. Tell the family and friends, like and subscribe, views from the stands, man. G-Mike, you got anything for the people?
Yeah, just thank you guys for the support. Continue to like, subscribe, share, come into the chat, talk some smack with us, ask us some questions, or if you want to get up on the show on the video feed, audio feed, and talk some sports with us, you can do that as well. We appreciate you guys and continue to show the love and support, baby.
Yeah, having said that as well, man, especially coming up on this weekend too. You got the NFL draft. If you guys want to talk about your team, give us a message on here and we can get you on here. We can give you a couple minutes to shine and we can all talk about it, So really appreciate all the love and support. Pass it along, views from the stands. We really appreciate it, man. You guys have a good night.
Peace.